Coming up, a new study says that some of those antidepressants you've been taking for depression, they don't really work. And we're going to talk about serotonin and the treatment of depression coming up here with more on this full-length edition of Depraved and Debaucherous. Welcome to the program. I'm King of Podcasts, and pretty soon I'll get to go ahead and celebrate 10 years of podcasting independently here. But today, well, actually 2 days ago, on August 1st, as I record this program, I actually celebrated my 17th year in podcasting. 17 years completed, starting year 18 now. Amazing. And remember, 2005, yours truly, King of Podcasts, there was no such word as podcast yet. It was audio archiving. But that's what we were doing, because we were doing radio still. We were doing live streaming, and then we'd have the shows up that you could listen to, but we didn't have an RSS feed where you could go ahead and put all the shows in one spot and listen back to them. That hadn't even started yet. But how things have changed in podcasting to when it was considered a joke when I was doing it, so along with live streaming, and then where we are today. But then again, the internet made it open for everybody to get involved in podcasting. It's a great thing. I appreciate it. I really like it, especially for someone like me that's been doing my own independent podcasting since 2012, right here in my man cave studios, doing this right now. The microphones have changed. The chairs I might sit on have changed. The laptops might have changed, but everything else, I made some changes to my facilities. I've added some padding in here, things like that. But for the most part, it's cozy, it's comfortable, and I am enjoying every minute of doing this. It's something I'm looking forward to every day is podcasting, and that's what I'm here for. Into the main story of Depraved and Debaucherous on this episode, a large umbrella review, systematic umbrella review was published in Molecular Psychiatry. They're saying there's a lack of consistent evidence linking serotonin and depression, concluding there's no support that depressions are caused by lower serotonin activity or concentration. So, there's been a lot of literature that says that it's abnormalities in serotonin, a neurotransmitter involved in numerous psychological and physiological processes. The SSRIs, your Xanaxes, your Valiums and things like that, right? Depression is caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain, has widespread support from researchers, healthcare practitioners, and general public. That's been what's been said. But now the efficacy of SSRIs are believed to provide support for the involvement of serotonin in depression. And others suggest that antidepressants enhance a placebo effect or generally blunt emotion. And so Joanna Moncrief and colleagues conducted the first comprehensive review to see if the serotonin hypothesis for depression, if there's relevant evidence. So they went through and did this case. December 2020 is when they did it. And they focused on depression and physical conditions like Parkinson's disease or subtypes of depression, postpartum, depression and bipolar disorder, and others were excluded. And they wrote that the major strands of research on serotonin shows there's no convincing evidence that depression is associated with or caused by lower serotonin concentrations or activity. Listen, I'm just reading the report. It's up to you to believe what you want to believe here if you think this is all bunk, okay? There's weak evidence for the association between serotonin activity and depression from studies examining serotonin receptors 5-HT1A and levels of SERT. The idea that depression is a result of a chemical imbalance also influences decisions about whether to take or continue antidepressant medication and may discourage people from discontinuing treatment. It's like painkillers. Some people get addicted to these things and they just feel like there's a need to continue to take them because the withdrawal from it is the same. So, and the idea is this a drug that should be used? There's a good, clear point. And that maybe the verbal talking therapy still is the claim, and that psychiatrists need to be a little less hesitant on using medication. Now, look, I went to 2 therapists. I did meet one for 6 months when I was working in TV news. And you know what? There's something to be said about how my company had such great benefits. They had mental health benefits. That's telling you how bad and grueling that job is. That they actually had to offer full coverage on health benefits, including mental health. that's kind of a red flag to me now that I realize that, 18 years old, I took that. Oh, let me see. I was 17. No, I'm sorry. 17 was when I started college. Because I started in late 17, almost 18 years old. And so it would have been 21 years old. That's right. I was 21 when I first took the job. And I'm saying to myself, wow, man. Yeah, 22 years old. Excuse me. That's when I took the job. And then I go in and I'm like, a lot of things going on with relationships right then, trying to get into relationships, chasing girls, usually girls that were probably not good for me, and just trying to pursue, chase. I made myself depressed, made myself exhausted, made myself really feel horrible about myself. And I needed the therapist for those 6 months. The young lady was wonderful to explain to me, well, young lady now, but not at that time. She was like probably mid to late 30s, but was just really, really nice. Let me talk. Let me get everything out and let me figure things out. And at the time, I still think about the fact that what I learned from her was that I didn't need to put myself in a situation where I was going to be, the girls I was going after were not what I needed, and that I shouldn't have felt so bad about being alone, that I didn't need to worry about having a woman in my life. It wasn't as important, because it started making me realize that there's reasons why people are unhappy in relationships, and I'm not paying attention to that. I was just thinking this whole naive thought that, if anybody was going to be with me, it's going to be great, which is what every guy that might be a little bit manipulative and narcissistic, which I feel like I'm pretty sure I was something like that back in those days, is true. So that study says a lot to me, and I'm wondering where people really come with that. And I know there's been like a topic that's kind of gone on political slants right there, what some people want to say. But I don't know. All I would say is, if you are seeing a psychiatrist, you got to ask yourself the question. I mean, there has to be something else. Maybe there's some other alternatives of what to do in terms of trying to find a way to go ahead and cope. Find a coping mechanism to get yourself past all the things that happen to you. Or if you haven't dug deep enough in the talks to be able to let yourself confront what happened, bring it all out in the open. Because the one problem that is always a thing about therapy is just feeling comfortable saying what you're going to say, because you're always afraid about what are you going to say, something that's going to make you crazy that they might throw you into sanitarium for all we know. Like, those are the things you think about that you can really be concerned about. You're saying to yourself, man, I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to feel like I'm that person that can't turn this around, that what's happening to me is impossible to fix. Like, I would be concerned about that. Just saying. So depression is one thing that we always look at right now. And I mean, for some people that are on here, it is about mental health. Because when you are, and like I said, I'm still reading that book on attachment theory and learning about all the various issues of being either avoidant, anxious, and not secure, or being a mixture of both anxious and avoidant. I'm right now at chapter 5 of the book, and it is opening up quite a bit to me and having an understanding on attachment theory. And once I get past that, I want to really go ahead and delve a little bit more into it. Once I get a chance to go ahead and really understand it well, I'll bring it up on the program. I do want to do that. In the meantime, one of the things I dread the most, and I do it because of the fact that that chasing spirit I used to have when I was older was because we never had dating apps, not the availability that we have now. But as we should all know, dating apps are they're pretty much worthless across the board. Very rarely do you actually find a connection and somebody you're going to really be with. So what it comes down to is you are on here and you know that 70% of the apps that are out there that are popular, they're made by one company, Match Group. Let's just make that point across too. Tinder's the most popular, of which I've been banned from there, from Hinge, and I just recently got banned from Match.com, banned from, what was the other one? Oh, I was also just recently banned from OkCupid. You know why? Because it's not so much where you might put something on the website that might be sexual or some kind of friends with benefits kind of deal, and you're saying something that might be deemed inappropriate when being monitored by these apps. But the truth is now is that if somebody doesn't like you, you could be canceled on a dating app. So that happens all the time with me. If somebody doesn't like what I'm saying to them and they get upset and easily get perturbed, they'll easily just hall monitor themselves to the app through support. Hey, this person did this and this. Ban. See, it's interesting. The sugar daddy sites don't do that. They actually give you warnings before something happens. Seeking Arrangement did that to me. And you basically get 3 strikes, you're out. But with an OkCupid, nope, banned. I don't try to appeal. It doesn't make sense. Once you get to that point and you just realize the toxicity on that site, on the app, listen, I might have some toxicity in me, but I would like to think I'm trying to go and work my way through all this and understand things better. So we're learning together. Remember that. It's not just me. We're learning together in all this. Dating app users now in a new story says they're more likely to report hypersexual tendencies and symptoms of depression. How about that? In the journal Sexes, they say an elevated risk of hypersexuality and depression among dating app users. That some people who struggle with mental health issues or hypersexual tendencies are using dating apps as a coping mechanism. I agree with that. Hypersexual tendencies. So, you know what? Your chronic masturbators are probably on these sites swiping away on girls. Or the other way around. You never know. So one of the researchers is, here's a tough name, Giacomo Ciocca. Is that how it says? Like it's an Italian name from Rome, University of Rome. He says that much evidence shows the formation of couple relationships are often related to the use of dating apps and sexual behaviors mediated by the use of these technological tools. And therefore, psychological research is called to study this contemporary phenomenon. So hypersexuality involves obsessive thoughts and urges about sex and compulsive sexual behavior, sex addiction. And these tendencies are associated with depression, and evidence that hypersexual people use sex to cope with low mood and depressive states. So they talked to 1,000 Italians via an online platform, 18 to 60 years old. No severe mental health issues. And they put out questionnaires. And out of those 1,000 Italians, 12% of them were using dating apps. And dating app users had higher overall scores for hypersexuality, scored higher than non-users in all 3 factors of a particular scale that they used, or this questionnaire they used to go ahead and find out how hypersexual these people were. And Ciocca also says sexual behavior, as Alfred Kinsey said, is a result of physiological and morphological aspects in all forces in the living and non-living environment. And the biggest problem is that we are being deprived of sex. Many men are being deprived of sex. And so this is a way to do that. When women and men are not coexisting with each other, they're not making the attempt to be together, attached in a relationship, a healthy sexual relationship. When that's being denied them, and guys are also doing the same thing, there's something wrong with that. And so we're all being susceptible to the fact that we're not having in-person interaction, no actual touch, no actual feelings, no actual emotions. It's all being done virtually, and that's not healthy. You know, one of the things I always look at now these days, and it's not like I'm looking for this, it's just it pops up on my FYP page on TikTok. Every young girl that's doing ASMR. And I'll tell you, there are a couple of them that do that, and they just get 10, 15,000 guys, a lot of simps that are just following along. There's one girl, I tell you, I kid you not, you know who it is. I'll say the name, Carol Mendoza, whatever her username is. She always pops up on my screen every night. She's on there like clockwork, just like this guy MC Magic that does like the auto-tune stuff. And he's like this DJ that's from California, I think it is, or Texas, I believe. And he's always doing stuff, and he's got like a couple thousand people watching him. But there's people that will watch this girl take her microphone, a Blue Yeti microphone, and she'll have it turned up, uber sensitive. Sometimes you might catch her where she has saran wrap over the microphone, and she's using shaving cream and rubbing it all over the microphone because of the sound it makes. And there are a number of girls that do the same thing on TikTok. They're all these ASMR types, you know, the soft talking, spoken, whisper kind of talk, all that kind of stuff. They're doing that on a regular basis. And this girl, the audacity of her, you know, she's a pretty girl. And she's this brunette that's very heavily chested. She always wears these pajamas where, of course, a couple of these onesie pajamas she has to wear just happen to be a couple of buttons open just to make sure there's enough cleavage showing. And if she's not playing with shaving cream on her microphone, she's eating strawberries or making sounds with her mouth. And she's saying thank you to all the messages and all the money she's making and all the different things she's getting. And she's speaking in Spanish in a very sexy, wispy, soft, submissive type of voice. And the guys that are watching this must be in the same class right here as those on dating apps. Hypersexual and depressed. And that this right now brings their dopamine levels up when they see a girl attractive and they start fantasizing about her. And listen, I get it, man. I understand that part. But there's a lot of guys who are doing that, and it's like, I can understand a little bit of that. I mean, I can understand it. But the problem is that when that becomes the replacement, the hypersexualization and the replacement of actual female interaction, real life women in your arms, in your bed, or in their bed, or in some other place, and you're not getting that kind of sexual tension, that sexual attraction, that sexual penetration, and you're doing it with yourself on your phone or a tablet or a computer or whatever, and you're watching. I mean, if you're not enjoying, you're not having love, real, physical, emotional love, real heart for that person, that's just porn. And it's the same thing what's going on here. Same idea. But there's a story I was going to bring up. I'll bring it up on a mini episode soon. That hotels wanted to start offering. They already been offering porn movies for a long time on the hotel service, right? The pay-per-view stuff. They've always made that available in hotels. Well, now they're going to offer virtual reality porn, augmented reality. That's coming up soon. I'll bring that up on a future episode. I'm going to be recording some new mini episodes of the program that'll be running in September. And I'll ask you, if there's anything you want me to go ahead and talk about here, then please go and reach out to me on the website, depravedanddebaucherous.blogspot.com. depravedanddebaucherous.blogspot.com. That's where you can find everything that's going on with yours truly with this particular show. I hope you'll go ahead and do that and check it out for yourselves. There you go. Next story up, I'm going to take us from The View, the TV show in the late mornings on the ABC TV network. You know, Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Hostin, Joey Behar, all you political types know what the show is, okay? I know you do. Well, anyways, there was a story they talked about this viral post that came out on Instagram where he called his fiancée not the most beautiful or intelligent. Well, let's go ahead and talk about that. I'm going to read the Instagram post and see what he says, because this is about a girl that is his fiancée he's about to marry. It creates a good discussion. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Here's what was said in this particular story. Solomon Bucci writes, "You're not the most beautiful woman. Neither are you the most intelligent woman, but I've chosen to never find perfection in anyone else. I put my gaze on you, and with that commitment, we would mold ourselves for ourselves. Our perfection is in our commitment. Stating you're not the most beautiful / intelligent might sound it's not like a compliment, yeah, but it's a realistic base for real love. Acknowledging that my woman isn't the best, but I'm not looking for the best. I was looking for you, and I found you. There is no best. There's just someone you choose and see the best in them. This, to me, is the real love, not the one that consoles itself in the faux reality that their partner is the most good-looking, most intelligent, most successful person in the world. That's disingenuous and doesn't give room for love to thrive. My love for you isn't about being the best. It's about being you. You being you, and there's just no other you. I love you, Ayana Faye. I'm committed to you. I miss you so much, but my love for you is stronger than distance." And so Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg were on differing sides of the argument. Whoopi Goldberg was on the side that she understood this guy's message and thought, okay, I mean, I get it. And she understood, and that's okay. I'm in the same way with Whoopi. I think what this guy said, he could have said it better. Sure. But I know what he's talking about. The point is that in the book I'm talking about with the attachment theory, they talk about that, it's not about the attraction of the looks and what and how intelligent and how much they offer, as much as it is. But remember, the beauty fades away. The intelligence, it really works when you have an intelligent woman that can also complement with an intelligent man. And there's intelligence across the board that maybe the children will come off with the same genes, the same genetic makeup. But we should know, it's pretty obvious that the people we marry are never usually the most attractive people we were with. And that's okay. That's not a problem. It's true that if you feel like you are with somebody and you realize to yourself, you know what? It's not that big a deal. I don't need to be the person that's going to be a supermodel, and I don't need a genius. But if you took that first paragraph out, or if you just took the first sentence out, it's, you are the best for me, and hopefully I'm the best for you. Because we do not need perfection in our lives. We are all flawed, honestly. We really could say there's not really any such thing as perfection anyway. But there are times we'd like to perceive someone that is perfect. But the truth is, it's not. Not necessarily. And so there was this thought right here that, I think that the guy was well-intended. And I look at the girl he's with. I mean, she's an attractive girl. She's pretty. And they look like a good couple together. And you know what? We never heard from her side of the story. Ayanna Faye. We don't know what she said, if she felt good about it or not. Maybe we'll hear something about that at some point. But it's totally fine. So it's his fiance. He wants to be with her. And you can just tell he loves her. Like, there's a picture they have where he had to, see her off as she was going away for something long distance. And so he misses her. And he put this heartfelt message out for her because that's how he felt. He's in love. And sometimes you're in love, you might not say the right words. But if she understands it and she loves him back, better off. Right? A couple other stories I want to just jump on real quick before we can wrap things up. The borderline diagnosis. The other thing, not just depression are we talking about. There's also talking about that borderline personality disorder. That's a flawed diagnosis as well. Somebody's even saying that too. Hey, maybe some things with mental health need to be changed up, and we need to learn about that, which is a good thing. There's a thought now that borderline personality disorder remains one of the most fascinating but most poorly understood diagnoses. And knowing that people are more than their diagnoses can help you think more realistically about the troubling set of qualities. So a global view of BPD, they had a diagnostic and statistical manual used in the U.S. and Canada, and researchers maintained it was an inaccurate and an antiquated system of personality disorder classifications based on categories. The newest version of the International Classification of Diseases, they now have renamed borderline personality disorder. They're now referred to it as a borderline personality specifier. Clinicians in favor of retaining the category of borderline personality disorder maintained there was a need for continuity with previous knowledge and treatment, and that the borderline construct is based on unsystematic observation and clinical tradition and does not emerge with the empirical literature mapping the organization of personality pathology, including leading to the renewal of this new name. The common speech in the media, the term borderline will undoubtedly retain popularity. But to some things that they say that once someone invents a category label like borderline personality disorder, it's hard to think of people's psychological disorders in any other way than the lens of an all or nothing entity. So that's what they're talking about here. That maybe the diagnosis really doesn't define what you really are going through. But it's because of the fact that researchers or clinicians or psychologists or psychiatrists are not necessarily taking their time to understand things. So that's why they kind of just roll with something that might be a certain way, and they'll just say it's what it is. Whatever. So another more story that's outside of, there's two other stories I got to talk to. Three others, excuse me. All right, real quickly. Dr. Nerdlove put out a story about How do I go from a FWB to a boyfriend? This is a good question. 24-year-old male. He's got a 22-year-old girlfriend. And so he basically says they always had a spark since they met. She's always been in a relationship. And she and her long-term boyfriend broke up, and I saw my chance to tell her how I felt. She said she liked him and found him hot, but didn't want a boyfriend right now. It wouldn't be fair to me because anything we would have wouldn't be the sort of relationship I wanted. I was cool with whatever. She didn't sound like she was interested, so I figured I could tell myself I took a shot. And then Jody and her met up for a drink for going to a friend's birthday, and then they decided to hook up. And they've been hooking up when they get the chance, and schedules mean maybe once a month, maybe twice if they're lucky. They talk a lot. She tells a lot about what's going on in her life, and he does the same thing, tells her back. Things are pretty good. But now she says there's a guy who's a friend of ours. He's always had a thing for her, and now he asked her on a date, and she's thinking about saying yes, and now he's stuck with agreeing they're just FWBs, and he was going to be cool to whatever was open to her. So is there a way to get her to reconsider just being friends with benefits? I know I'm not sure if I'm cool with it anymore, and the last time I brought it up to her, I kind of wanted to see how she felt. So I said I was going on a date with her. She said, that's great. I hope I had a good time, and I guess it didn't work. How do I take back being cool with whatever we had and tell her I want her to be with me and not this other guy? Okay. Let's see what Dr. Nerlove says. We'll take this. You fell victim to one of the classic blunders, most famous of which is never tell your girlfriend her ass looks fat in those jeans unless that's what makes her so hot to you. And never accept a part of what you want because you think you could leverage it into something with enough time. And let's be honest, just you, me, and everyone reading this column, that's exactly what you did. And there's a reason why folks have issues hooking up rather than dating. When two people go with different expectations, folks get hurt when those expectations are no longer lining up. One of the worst things you can do in a situation like the one you described is pretend to not want what you actually want. Whether it's you're afraid you're expressing a desire means you lose power somehow, or because you're afraid of what would happen if you ask for what you actually want. But as you're discovering, half a loaf, hell, a fifth of a loaf is not better than none. Not when it comes to dating anyway. He goes on, but I'll tell you what he did say is right is, FWBs are always meant to be temporary. You're never going to hold on to this girl. What you wanted was to be able to conquer the fact and have that sexual conquest. I know that's what I did. I know it. And so what happens here is that he wanted to have something that he was going to get with this girl because he always had a thing for her. And for me, I had to learn the fact that, you know what? Sometimes all we get are moments with the girls we want or that we're attracted to. Sometimes that's all we get are moments when we always want more. We want to be attached. We want to be clingy. We want this girl to hold on to us. We want a lot more time together because we get along so great. Yeah, but it's still kind of a friend zone feel to me. If you ask me, I still feel like it's kind of friend zoning, but you're finally getting a bone. But in a way, if you got friend zoned and then you're with this girl and now you're at the point where, oh wow, now you're just at the point where you just don't even want to be. You realize you took the sex, but even now you still want more. That means you're basically friend zoned. And even the sex is not enough. It doesn't satiate you. And so the thing is, you have to ask for what you want. And if you're only going to get friends with benefits, just realize it's not going to last. The truth is, the best friends with benefits are the ones that you know, oh, she's going to be with somebody else. And you know what? That's happened to me a bunch of times. Friends with benefits, and you know what? The girl finds somebody else. And that's okay. I'll admit there's been times I've reached out to a girl to see if she was still with a guy and see if there's a chance to get back together. But it doesn't happen that way. And then sometimes you just realize, you know what? It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore, and that's okay. Like, it would be nice to say something different, but the truth is, it's not. It doesn't matter anymore. So I understand where they're coming from with that. It's a pretty good point to be said. I can appreciate that. Okay, 2 more stories before we wrap up. Gen Z teaching older generations a lesson about beauty is not just about sex. This story from Fortune magazine caught my attention. Makeup tutorials, skincare routines, all kinds of product reviews fill TikTok's For You page. And that Gen Z consumers have instituted a paradigm shift in the psyche of the beauty consumer. A generation focused on authenticity, not conformity. Gen Z views beauty as a way to express their intrinsic value and as a tool to achieve external validation. Yeah, pretty much. They talked here to Kayla Vienna, who's an industry manager for beauty and personal care at Euromonitor, an independent provider of strategic market research. And that she says that there's increased awareness in the younger generation of the connection between mind, body, and skin. In other words, the typical Gen Z thinks of beauty as a way to express themselves, not as a way to attract others. Clearly implications on the one hand for business and also for society at large. And that is different than what millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers used to think. And it goes back to how Gen Z was raised, they say. First generation was encouraged to be you and not settle for status quo. Then there's the digital generation not knowing a world without mobile devices and instant access to information, shaping their worldview and their experiences of brands and businesses. The fragrance category has shifted in the marketing messaging from sexualized imagery to focus on scent profile, self-comfort, and mindfulness. Yeah, they're changing altogether. Beauty is not about sex. That's crazy. I mean, I understand it, I guess. I mean, there's an empowerment of being beautiful, and that's a good thing, as long as beauty is not being destroyed. That's what's important. But it is interesting where they want to take the sex out of beauty. Why? When you see the change to Victoria's Secret models, when you see the changes to the perfume ads and things like that, yeah, it's all changing. I don't know. And the beauty industry is embracing perfections rather than fighting to cover them up. Gen Z loves trends, clothes, products, looks sell out immediately after someone recognizes poses with the item. Low-rise jeans are making a comeback. The bare midriff look, reminiscent of the late 90s, calls into question just how over sex appeal the generations of concept of beauty is. They don't seek out external validation in the same way. Do they seek validation? Yes, but they seek it in different ways and prioritize it differently than prior generations. And so the guys, I would imagine, this is for the women, because the guys, they probably just look at a beautiful girl and still probably have sexual thoughts. Because that's just how we're wired and built. Let's just say it like that. And finally, a poll that was done about current and former app users talking about their habits, their horror stories, and what they found. So this quick survey got put together. I'll bring this up here. This is from thecut.com. Out of 1,232 people, 367 said their least favorite app was Tinder. 242 said it was their favorite for keeping profiles short, sweet, and simple. 353 said their favorite app was Bumble. 654 preferred Hinge. They learned when to swipe left at red flags, including when someone has different interests than you, very different, or too into themselves, when someone can express themselves or expresses anything too explicit about sex. And the ones that wanted to swipe right, they said 415 of them were looking for a good sense of humor. 167 valued similar interests. 95 valued education or intelligence. 770, wanted someone with similar political views. 602 said they have a height requirement. Listen, the 666 rule for guys, that's probably a real thing. 6 foot tall, six figure income, six pack. It's very much the point. Keep that in mind, man. The modern women and the guys that are being left out as a result. You know what's funny? I saw back-to-back videos on my TikTok about how guys need to go overseas to find a wife. It's true, but it is saddening to see if that's something that's going to be the case down the line. Well, we've learned a lot on this episode, and I appreciate you listening through the whole way through if you did. Remember, you can email me, depravedanddebaucherous.blogspot.com. If you have any topics I should talk about on a future episode, here on the full-length edition or on a mini episode, please reach out to me there, depravedanddebaucherous.blogspot.com. I plan to get a URL at some point. I just don't know the name yet. It's not a matter of getting the domain. It's what I want to name it. If you got a name idea, let me know and I'll get it. Anyways, I'll leave it there. And now you understand that, hey, we might be a little depressed. We might be a little degenerate. But all of us are a little depraved and debaucherous.